Well, good morning and welcome back to our 31 days of wisdom. Almost there. Today is day 30. And I hope you've been growing more wise as you go through Proverbs. And that's not something we want to end after 31 days. We want to continue. James talks about if anyone desires to be wise, ask God because God will freely give to those who seek, right? And today we're in chapter 30. And chapter 30 is about sayings of the wise, the mysterious sayings of Agur. So in these first few verses, we kind of get to hear a little bit about um, Agur, and he has all these riddles all throughout chapter 30 here. But most of these riddles, they kind of explore things like things that we should avoid, like slander and cursing and hate and deception, mockery, adultery, pride, and evil. And really, as bad as these things sound, Agar's saying reveal that those who do such things often consider themselves innocent. We say do these things and then we claim that we are innocent from them. So, and as you continue to read through chapter 30 here, kind of take a look that some of these riddles are not only about virtue or morality, but are really observations about nature and relationships. And the structure consists of really three observations here. The first two observations are about how the world works. And then the third shows how the first two relate to how wisdom really works. So as you read these riddles, and the sayings of these wise here, it's really asking us to consider the outcomes of our choices and our actions. So as you read, consider those. The choices that we make produce the results that we get. The actions that we take produce the results that we get. And it's wanting us to consider those actions and those choices that we are making that produce the results. Right? Jump on in here. Chapter 30, day 30 of 31 days of wisdom. Here we go. These are the collected sayings of the prophet Agur, Jacob's son, the amazing revelation he imparted to Ithiel and Ucal. God, I am so weary and worn out. I feel more like a beast than a man. I was made in your image, but I lack understanding. We just talked about that in James says that if any of you desire wisdom, ask God because he'll freely give that wisdom. Verse 3, I've yet to learn the wisdom that comes from the full and intimate knowledge of you, the Holy One. Verse 4, who is it that travels back and forth from the heavenly realm to the earth? Who controls the wind as it blows, and who holds it in its fist? Who tucks the rain into the cloak of his clouds? Who stretches out the skyline from one vista to the other? Who is his name, and what is the name of his son? Who can tell me? Well, Jesus answers this riddle in John 3:13. This is what Jesus says right here, John 3:13. No one has risen into the heavenly realm except the Son of Man, who also exists in heaven. That's Jesus. And then also Ephesians 4, I think it's 7 through 10 right here. He says, and he has graciously given each one of a supernatural grace according to the size of the gift of Christ. This is why he says, he ascends into the heavenly heights, taking as many captured ones with him, and gifts were given to men. He ascended means that he returned to heaven after he had first descended from the heights of heaven, even descending as far as the lowest parts of the earth. The same one who descended is also the one who ascended above the heights of heaven in order to begin the restoration and fulfillment of all things. Riddle is answered in Jesus. Let's keep going. Here we go. Verse 5. Every promise from the faithful God is pure and proves to be true. He is a wraparound shield of protection for all his lovers who run to hide in him. Never add to his words, or he will have to rebuke you and prove that you are a liar. How about that? God, there are two things I'm asking you before I die. Only two. Empty out of my heart everything that is false, every lie, and every crooked thing, and give me neither undue poverty nor undue wealth, but rather feed my soul with the measure of prosperity that pleases you. How about that? I've heard a guy ask before. people talk about money and how much is too much money. And I love his answer. He says, too much money, the amount of money that's too much is whatever replaces trust. Whatever replaces trust in Jesus. For some people, that may be $1,000 a month. For some people, it could be $1 million a month. It's whatever amount that replaces trust. Here we go, verse 9. May my satisfaction be found in you. Don't let me be so rich that I don't need you, or so poor that I have to resort to dishonesty just to make ends meet. Then my life will never detract from bringing glory to your name. Never defame a servant before his master, for you will be the guilty one, and a curse will come upon you. There's a generation rising that curses their fathers and speaks evil of their mothers. Yep, there's a generation rising that considers themselves to be pure in their own eyes, yet they are morally filthy, unwashed, and unclean. There's a generation rising that is so filled with pride, they think they are superior and look down on others. There is a generation rising that uses their words like swords to cut and slash those who are different. They would devour the poor, the needy, and the afflicted from off the face of the earth. There are 3 words to describe the greedy. Give me more. There are some things that are never satisfied. Forever craving more, they're unable to say, that's enough. Here are 4. The grave, yawning for another victim. The barren womb, ever wanting a child. Thirsty soil, ever longing for rain. And a raging fire, devouring its fuel. They're all insatiable. The eye that mocks has his father and dishonors his elderly mother deserves to be plucked out by the ravens of the valley and fed to the young vultures. Verse 18, there are 4 marvelous mysteries that are too amazing to unravel. Who could fully explain them? The way the eagle flies in the sky, the way a snake glides on a boulder, the path of a ship as it passes through the sea, and the way a bridegroom falls in love with his bride. Here is the deceptive way of the adulterous woman. She takes what she wants and then says, I've done nothing wrong. 4 intolerable things. There are 4 intolerable events that are simply unbearable to observe. When an unfaithful servant becomes a ruler, when a scoundrel comes into great wealth, when an unfaithful woman marries a good man, and when a mistress replaces a faithful wife. Verse 24, the earth has 4 creatures that are very small but very wise. The feeble ant has little strength, yet look how it diligently gathers its food in the summer to last throughout the winter. The delicate rock badger isn't all that strong, but look how it makes a secure home nestled in the rocks. The locusts have no king to lead them, yet they cooperate as they move forward by bands. And the small lizard is easy to catch as it clings to the walls with its hands, yet it can be found inside a king's palace. 4 stately things. There are 4 stately monarchs who are impressive to watch as they go forth. The lion, the king of the jungle, who is afraid of no one. The rooster strutting boldly around the hens. The male goat out in front leading the herd. And a king leading his regal procession. If you've acted foolishly by drawing attention to yourself, or if you've thought about saying something stupid, you better shut your mouth. For such stupidity may give you a bloody nose. Stirring up an argument only leads to an angry confrontation. Hey, that's day 30, 31 days of wisdom. Would love to hear your favorite verses, scriptures that really stood out to you in this chapter. Hey, we've got one more day in our 31 days of wisdom. Look forward to catching you tomorrow on day 31. You guys have a great day and God bless.